Your experience, just tell me about your experience working with Tim, because I understand that you signed on to the film before Amy did.
I'm not aware of the
Chronology.
order and chronology and sequence in it. It's really how Tim, I think, works all together. You know, there's this world that he creates, and it's like a big cloud that moves with him. And when you get under it, it starts to condensate and materialize and cluster, and you know, the things come together. So I don't really know how the sequence was. I know that I was drawn in by him, of course, and the story and that character, yes, but it's all related one to the other.
Certainly.
The character is only good as a story, and the story is only good in the hands of Tim Burton.
Yeah.
So you understand what I mean? It's kind of sort of a gravitational force.
Absolutely. It's definitely like a swirling sort of thing with Tim as the center of the gravity.
Exactly.
But one of the things that I really loved about the film, in addition to the performances themselves, the cinematography, the sort of scaled back, for Tim anyway, because the last couple of movies were bigger films.
I beg to differ. It's not scaled back.
Okay.
It's just
give it to me.
Tim is an artist, you know. He's not a decorator. He looks for the appropriate aesthetic for the story. He creates the form that the contents need to be told adequately. So you know, when people say, well, it's not a typical Tim Burton, what's a typical Tim Burton? I was there every day.
Yeah.
I can really prove that it is a Tim Burton movie because I saw him make it.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah, who am I? I didn't make the movie. You did.
Yeah. So why is it not a typical Tim Burton movie? It is.
Right.
It is because, you know, Tim Burton is not the decoration around him. Tim Burton is the core.
Right. Well, excellent point. And when I talk to Tim, I'm going to now rephrase my question because of that, because you're absolutely right. But in terms of bringing Walter to life, what I liked about the film was it didn't paint Walter out to be just like, you know, sort of a villain or a baddie or just there were layers to him in the sense that he may have manipulated Margaret into being in that position for as long as she was, but Walter also did bring a lot to the table. He made a lot of things happen, and the film really gives credit where the credit was due in terms of Walter. I want to know what your take is on that.
Thank you very much. I concur wholeheartedly. It's very easy to depict, you know, the bad guy and the good gal, and the bad guy abuses the good gal in one way or another, and then the good gal is a victim, and we all feel very sorry and very good about ourselves feeling sorry, and then we leave and forget.
Right, yes.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with life. It
Right.
has nothing to do with our lives. But when we're kind of drawn into a story about an interdependent relationship where one couldn't do without the other, yet that turns into the point of contention, we identify. We all have that experience in one way or another. And it helps us reflect. It helps us identification with the story and with characters, and that's why we go to the movies. Helps us understand ourselves. And you know, the black and white painting that just reinforces our preconceptions about ourselves.
But also, I know that when Amy was preparing to play Margaret, she went up to San Francisco, met Margaret, watched her paint. Really got to know Margaret and did a ton of research, whereas you, from what I read, and I could be wrong, but this did come from the production notes. So,
well, there was one important element that helped me a lot in that respect, which was that Walter, unfortunately, is dead. So I can't go. I wouldn't anyway. Amy went out of respect
Right.
out of sense of responsibility. You know, she has to play a character that is taken from the story of a real person.
Yeah.
And I emphasize it is taken from. It is not the biography of Margaret Keane. We are talking about fiction.
Yes.
We're talking about art because we're talking about Tim Burton. If you want Margaret Keane's biography, you can make a documentary. I'm sure you would make a great one, and I'd come and watch it and say, oh, that's such an interesting person. I personally stay away from all this true story business.
Why?
Because I'm an actor.
Right.
I'm not a biographer.
Right.
I'm not an anthropologist. I'm
Right.
not a philologist either. I'm not a zoologist because some of them are animals, you know. I just do what the script says. And I like doing it. I like sort of taking it upon myself to use what I have at my disposal.
Right.
I'm not a great impersonator. By the way, nor is Amy. I mean, she might be a great one, but that was not why she went to visit Margaret Keane.
Right.
It was really a very respectful gesture on her side.
Right, and Amy is wonderful in this movie. Tell me about working with her.
Amy is not only wonderful in this movie, Amy is wonderful in every movie, and Amy is also wonderful outside of the movies. Amy is a real actress to my liking, taste, and understanding of what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because we can just get on with it. We work. And there's a lightness and a flow, and we can try out and an understanding. We don't have to clear the field and clarify the theory behind it. We just get on with it, and sheer joy. I want to be in her contracts all the time.
That's delightful. And speaking of getting on, you've gotten on now. We are huge Bond fans. So excited about Spectre. And how excited are you to play Oberhauser in the Spectre?
I have to do it before we can talk about it, because the rest is speculation. Feeds sort of into the same topic, really. You know, I can't play the myth. I have to do, Tacheles.